Hello, hello. I couldn't sleep very well last night. Have very high blood pressure and fear and guilt and anxiety and pain, all of it, and extreme grief over my family in Germany. Because yesterday I told them that I I am done. I'm no longer part of this. I'm no longer willing to see this tremendous pain, to see what they're doing, what's going on there, squandering the money, and then blaming it on me and playing psychoterror with me. I'm no longer willing to endure this. So that was a tremendous step in my life. This was really, really, this is this is so huge, you know. And it's like death of ego. It's grief. It's guilt. It's so much pain. I can't even describe it. But I had to take that step. Because if I didn't take the step, they would make sure to drive me into complete insanity. They would make sure of it. Maybe not consciously, premeditatedly, deliberately, but they would. They would drive me into insanity. And I want to be here for my dog. I want to have a clear mind and brain. I want to function in my life. I don't want to feel like I am sort of under some kind of in some kind of I don't know how to explain this, like a mental shackle, like I owe them, like I'm ungrateful, like I'm a hair-eating monster that my mother thinks I am. They see me as an enemy. The main reason why they see me as an enemy is because I say the truth. Say the truth. And I'm not diplomatic. I say it the way it is. I don't euphemize anything. I don't insult people either. I say it the way it is, and I say the way I feel. And people can't stand it, can't handle it at all. My brother turned everyone against me. I wouldn't be surprised if he was gonna try to turn Philip against me too. So there's nothing I can do about it. Philip is the only person, no, in this whole thing, in this whole family thing. He's not related to me, but he's like my brother. And because we grew up together. And I have so many important and good memories of Philip and Barbara and Oscar. He's the only one who talked nicely to me. He was nice. He was supportive. Who was on my side. He said, "Don't." I don't know the word in English for this. Don't pass up the inheritance. You deserve it. He means well. He just wants to be helping me. And of course my husband doesn't want me to pass that up. He wants me to be diplomatic and all of this against my own feelings and betraying my own. I mean, Philip doesn't know better. My husband knows me now very, very, very closely. He knows how this psychological bind that I have been in. He knows how much that has been hurting me. And yet he still says I should be diplomatic and I should just let them do what they want to do and just hang in there with this, hang in there and watch my brother run himself into a ruin and everyone else with his cocaine addiction. Now, he might have even access to their bank accounts. I mean, I have no idea what's going on. Okay. I have no idea, but it's obvious that my brother is a cocaine user. It's pretty obvious. I see every symptom there is. He lies to me about almost everything. He backstabs me. He gossips about me. He slanders me. He has done that my entire life. He prevented me from getting a job as a model when I was 19. He told the photographer, my sister isn't good looking. She doesn't look good at all. And that was just simply not true. When I was 19, I was very good looking. Very good looking. I cut my hair real short because I was struggling with so much pain. But I was really good looking when I was 19 years old. I could have earned some money with that. It would have boosted my self-esteem. I needed that. And he prevented that. He told, just by telling the photographer, no, my sister isn't good looking, because the photographer wanted to know if he has a sister. Or I think he knew that he had a sister, because my parents know him. And I know his daughter. I went to school with her. My mother did the same type of things. There was a photographer once when I was 9 years old. There was a photographer who wanted to photograph Philip, my friend Philip, and me for a children's magazine, in a playful, like played scenario of something in a store. And he and Philip were at the door to pick me up, and my mother said real cold to him, my daughter doesn't trust anyone. That's not even true. It's a complete lie. And then the photographer said, why don't I ask your daughter myself if she would like to come along for that photo shoot? And he came in and he was real sweet and nice. And Philip was all excited about this. And I said, of course, yes, I would love to. And I heard my mother say that. I heard her say that at the door. My daughter doesn't trust anyone, in a very cold way. Like she really wanted to prevent that I would go on that photo shoot. I don't forget these things. And it's just, those kind of things, those types of things are just like throughout my entire life. With both my mother and my brother and my grandfather. These three people, they really hated me. They hated my guts my whole life. I feel absolutely terrible for my brother with this because I was very jealous of him when I was a little baby, when I was 5 years old. I was still like a baby, and I was so dependent on my mother's love and everything. And when my brother came into existence, I thought for sure now that's the end of any little bit of breadcrumb of love that I could possibly get. So I was very jealous of him, and it was very, very painful for me. And I wasn't nice to him because of that. And my parents did nothing to help us with this, absolutely nothing. My mother just made everything worse. She poured gasoline into the fire. Was that? So, I don't blame my brother for holding a very deep-seated hatred towards me. So, but where does that deep-seated hatred come from? And my mother, my own mother, where does that come from? Why did she hate me from the beginning on? From the beginning on. It's an energetic type of thing. We even have blood types, my mother and I, that cause blood clotting in utero. So they had to give her medication to prevent her blood with interfering, with collapsing with my blood. Because she has blood type B negative, which is this is not a coincidence. And I have B positive. This is, it sounds like a joke, right? But this is really, this is for real. This kind of stuff is for real. I already came into this existence through the vessel of a being that already, probably through thousands of years of incarnations, has hated me. What a life journey. This is more than a challenge, right? This is really heavy duty. She hated me from the beginning on. She fell into a huge depression when I was born. She told my dad he couldn't be happy about me at all. She was extremely sad that I came into existence. She was glad when my brother was born. She found him cute, but not me. The pain that I have experienced as an infant with constipation and fear and torment and this feeling of there's no mother, there's nobody there for me, no one there to hold me, no one there to say, I'm here for you, No mother to say, I am here for you no matter what. No one there. It's just floating alone in empty space. You know, I had this dream in Kenya when we went on a vacation. I had salmonella infection. And I went into a delirium. And in this delirium of fever, I had this unimaginably cruel nightmare of being alone, all alone in space. And the only thing I had was a completely bright red telephone. And this telephone, like a toy telephone, like the old dial telephones they used to have in the 70s. And I picked up the receiver and I called my mother on earth. And she was ice cold to me. And there was no mother. And then I woke up. I wobbled to the bathroom and there was right over the toilet, leaning over the toilet, a monster like that looked kind of like the Michelin Tire Man mixed with the alien from that film Alien Resurrection, you know. That kind of alien, you know, Michelin Tire Man, alien type of thing. And I've seen this thing and I've seen this thing again later. I'll talk about this in a moment. I just want to finish this this anecdote. So I saw this thing there, standing there. I turned the light on. I saw this thing there in the bright light of the bathroom. This thing there, standing there and staring at me, taller, much taller than me, like almost like taller than my mother also. Like as tall as my dad's, maybe even taller, and very big. And looking at me, like kind of like with a sadistic grin, showing the teeth. And I was in such shock. It was a hallucination. I was in such a shock. I never heard about hallucinations before. I was 11 years old. I didn't know what was going on. So I ran outside the door. I hammered against the door of my parents that was next door to us. We had two separate hotel rooms in the middle of the night, and I said, Mommy, 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 there's a monster in my bathroom. And she was real angry that I woke her up. She went in the bathroom and she yelled at me and she said, there's nothing there. And she didn't see that I had a red face, that I was in sort of like in a psychotic delirium. She didn't see any of that. Had no sympathy for me whatsoever. Ice cold. Just sent me back to bed. I don't even know if I slept again after that. Not long after that, the vomiting, diarrhea started. The fever got worse. Then in the morning, the mother came in and saw me sick. Was still ice cold, like ice. How is this possible? She didn't call a doctor or anything. She didn't call anyone. She just stood there by the window, looking out the window, like she's pissed that I'm ruining her vacation. That's what she looked like. My dad never came into the room, never, not even once. The whole time I was sick for 3 to 4 days. Sick. So every day I got sicker. Every day I just constantly vomiting, constantly diarrhea. Constantly, permanently. every day. And I got weaker and weaker and weaker. I lost more and more weight, became like a skeleton. So on the fourth day, and she would only come in a few times and stand by the window and look out the window with a real bad, miserable expression on her face, like I'm wronging her. So I finally said to her, "Mommy, I want to die." Then she looked at me and reluctantly she went outside and told my dad. And he didn't even know. He may not have even known that I'm sick. I wasn't there at the breakfast or at any of the meals. He never came into the room. So I guess they finally went and asked at the receptionist if there's a physician in the hotel. There was a German physician. And he came into the room and he saw me. He saw that I was about to die. And he got real mad at my mother. He gave her a real angry lecture. He immediately gave me medication for it, for the salmonella. He could see immediately what it is. Didn't even need to test it. So as soon as I took the medication, it started to let off. So then that day it started to get better. And I think the next day I was able to walk. I never said anything to my mother. I never said how much that hurt me. Much later, I talked about it. Much later, and when she hears me say this, you know, how wrong that was, it's being, the accusation is being caught like a screen, like this, or like a baseball glove, you know, and dodged off. It doesn't go. It doesn't speak to her. There's no remorse. There's no compassion. No, she hates me even more than because I brought that up. And there are things like this throughout my entire life. And I have accepted that. I didn't know what else to do. I should have left as a child. I should have said to someone, "Take me out of here." One time she left me with an aunt that she didn't trust. That aunt almost killed me too. I was 2 years old at that time. My parents left me for 6 weeks with that aunt. When they came back, I was a skeleton. I was so badly abused. I had diarrhea and vomiting there too. I don't know what caused that. Immune weakness from the abuse. I hate my parents. I hate these ice-cold bastards. That's what the Medusa says. That's what the anger says. If I step above this, Right now I'm in it, in the feeling. If I step above it, I can see where they're coming from. They're confused. Okay, they're psychotic or something. My mother's psychotic. My dad is weak. He's a extremely weak character. Neither one has love. Neither one is capable of loving. And my brother is not capable of loving either. I had a phase when I was drinking alcohol. That's the phase when I got along with them the best. You know, it's pretty logic why that is. Because I was drinking away my pain, you know. I was partying with them as if there's nothing wrong with anything. Yeah. And then we all get along, you know. If I say, oh, it's all good, yeah, let's party. If you don't say the truth, you're in it. You're in with the party. But beware, if you say the truth, you are out immediately. So what's better? Party your ass into the ground with lies and deception and addictions. Okay? That's one way. Right? And be totally irresponsible for the world and everything around you. Or wake up, sober up, see the bus coming. Tell them the truth if you care about them. Tell them the bus is coming. Why don't you jump out of the way? Why don't you do something to prevent a catastrophe, a disaster and extreme suffering? Why don't you prevent that? Say something. Take the chance that they all take offense and that it's being dodged by the ego like this. That's not your problem anymore. You have to say the truth anyway. And then you're out. First of all, you're out emotionally. Okay? You see the consequences of it. You get tortured. And then at some point you say, okay, no, I don't want to get tortured anymore. I'm going to leave. Okay? Because I'm going to go to those people that will accept me for whom I am. A sober person without tattoos, without body piercings, a dorky do-gooder. I want people that appreciate that. Yes. That will say, I'm glad you're not a party asshole. I'm glad you're not a cocaine addict or an alcoholic or a cigarette smoker or a methamphetamine user. I'm glad you're none of this. I'm glad you're not religious. I'm glad you're not going by some role model. I'm glad you think for yourself. I'm glad you care for all living beings. Those are the kind of people I want around me in my life. I hope that makes a lot of sense. There aren't very many people like this, but they exist. So, my friend Sandy and my friend Mirka are two of those. And I know that Philip is one. And that, just that, you know, the conversation on Facebook with Philip for 2 or 3 days was so important to me, was so healing for me. To know there is a family member still out there who sees me in my situation for what it is. Who sees me for whom I am. That is so infinitely important. His support, his warmth is so infinitely important that words could not describe it. Okay. And so That's what I live for. I live for real friends who support me. And the support from Mirka and the support from Sandy is infinitely precious. All of their support is infinitely precious. The warmth, the understanding. I see you. I see what you're going through. I'm so sorry. I'm here for you. Those are the words of love. My family cannot give that to me, ever. And when money doesn't come from the heart, I don't want it. So I said no to it. I don't know how much money they have. I'm not even going to mention any numbers here, but so far, yeah. I'm not going to say it what it is, but I would say no to $1 million. I would say no to $6 million. I would say no to $10 million. I would say no to $10 billion and up and indefinitely. If it doesn't come from the heart, okay, then I don't want it. I don't want anything. I don't want any part of that, of this convoluted mess that they have financially. I don't want to be part of this, the guilt-tripping insanity, the psychoterror that flows against me from many, many different people. I don't want to be part of that, sorry. You do your own BS. Leave me out of it. I want nothing to do with this. My message to them is, I do feel terrible grief over you. I feel pain, I feel guilt. I feel sorry. I really genuinely feel sorry. I feel sorry for each person. They're all in their pain when I look at it from above. I feel sorry for the hard feelings, the pain that this situation causes. But I cannot continue like this ever anymore. No more. It's not possible. It is not possible. There's no hope anymore in it. There's no more, yeah, maybe. There's no more of any of this. I see the whole thing now for what it is. My brother is turning them against me. I don't know if he's doing this deliberately or if it's just sort of like the drug habit that pushes him into this, and he's not even conscious of it. I don't know. But I can clearly see he's taking cocaine. These are the symptoms of cocaine. Then he told me that his wife used to be a heroin addict. People who used to be heroin addicts, they can become heroin addicts at any time again. The risk is very high, particularly if the underlying emotions are not resolved. If the pain, the emotional pain is not resolved. The feelings of the childhood pain of not having ever been seen by anyone, if that's not resolved. And I'm not judging her, I'm not saying she's bad or anything. Not at all. I totally get it. I totally feel it. I totally feel her predicament. I can clearly see it. She's very confused also to put children into this world under those conditions. Very confused. Just as confused as my mother is and always was. They're all in a complete panic. They're in a frenzy. They're letting the ego drive them into insanity. I want nothing to do with that. Okay, I am infinitely grateful to the blue god, to Jiddu Krishnamurti, Gautama Buddha, Vishnu, Krishna. Okay, it's all one entity, the entity of the infinite cosmos. Okay. The talks by Jiddu Krishnamurti are saving me through all of this. They saved me through a panic attack in 2012. They're saving me through this. And I'm infinitely grateful. And I feel, for the first time in my life, I feel like there's a burden lifted off my shoulders. There's the guilt-tripping burden lifted off my shoulders. I freed myself. I didn't think that I would ever make it to that point. I thought for sure I would never make it to that point. My therapist, Esther Odermatt, told me in 1992 already. She told me for many years. She told me later when I went to see her in Geneva. She told me that you don't need them. Okay? You need to break off. You need to be independent from them. This is not good for you. This is toxic. She was right. And I knew she was right. I always knew she was right. But I didn't feel strong enough to leave. I didn't feel strong enough to leave them emotionally. And I didn't feel strong enough to make it on my own. Both things individually. I was still very dependent on my mother in that struggle. Mommy, love me. Mommy, please see me, see how I suffer. Please see me, see me. See how I suffer. Love me. Don't you see me? The struggle went on for over 50 years. I'm gonna be 54 in a couple of days. And I broke off from my parents. I made it. I haven't made it financially in my life. I might never make it financially in my life. But this was a massive, groundbreaking, life-changing experience and step that I had to take. It was coming up. It was an inexorable development that was happening already for many years. Step by step, I emancipated myself. And I was hated for that. Ooh, hated and resented for that by everyone. They think, you ungrateful bitch. That's what they think of me. I don't care what they think. I don't care what any of them think of me. Okay, I'm free. Okay, I'm not even taking their bullshit money and their bullshit psychoterror anymore. So I'm not the hair-eating monster anymore. Okay, and if there's ever a chance for me to pay them back the money that they have paid me already in my life, since they're already added, now calculating all of this up, how much I got and how much he got. So it's probably over $1 million. I don't know. Who knows? But I'll pay them back. It's probably not more than $2 million. So I'll give them $3 million. That covers the interest if I ever had the chance to pay them back. I don't. And I don't have to pay them back. I don't owe them anything. Okay. I unburdened myself from them. So in every respect, I'm unburdened. And so they can save a lot of money now. They can give it to my brother for his cocaine habit. And that's also why he doesn't want to leave Berlin. He wants to stay there where the drug dealers are. He has this group of people already. He has a specific self-image there. You know, when he goes into the bar, he's a big shot. I don't know for what, but okay, for his aggressive act-outs. You know. He's become an aggressive asshole. That's what he has become. Somewhere, I don't know, was 2013, 2014, or 2015, somewhere around that time, my brother never called me. Never. For like several years. Never called me. Never emailed me. Never. I sensed this. I sensed it energetically, that he was laughing about me, that he thought I was a loser, that he thought I was pathetic, he thought I was cheap, or that I was a second-class citizen, or that I was a dork, but much worse than that. Like the dorkiest dork, sort of, yeah. Like the worst, the Walmart clothes wearing, do-gooder, Leonard Stetschik, peon. That's what he thought of me. I could sense it, I could feel it, yeah, I could feel it. So then he had a massive loss with his job. He broke off with the only person that enabled him even to get into the public's eye. He called it off with him because that guy used my brother's art and music and sold it as sort of like him being part of that. But he should have the right to do this, since he's the one who enables him to be publicized. So I see it now from a different angle. Maybe that guy is very business oriented and quite straightforward with that. Let's put it that way, okay? But we all should be watching over our assets a little bit better. We all should be taking good care of our financial situation. My brother spent his money like this. Long time ago, I said to him, man, you're making money right now, why don't you save it? You can buy yourself a house for your daughter and your dog. He said, oh, I have so much money, I don't need to pay any attention to this. I thought, what an incredibly pathetic and arrogant statement. But I didn't say any more to this. And then after that, I didn't hear from him for many years. Then when he came crashing down, when everything came crashing down, then the ego was crushed. Suddenly, he calls me. Suddenly, he wants to talk to me. Yeah. That's what I'm good for then. That's what the dorky, pathetic do-gooder is suddenly good for. Yeah, when the ego is crushed, yeah, then I come, then I need to talk to someone, you know. And then I need to talk to a do-gooder. But, you know, when he's all the way high riding, you know, then, oh, she's such a cheap do-gooder. Doesn't even understand any values of anything. He doesn't understand the value of love. Anything, any of that. That hurt my feelings so much. So much. So much that one time I was so suicidal over the way my brother treated me. The way he was arrogant and aggressive to me. And I saw that he, every year, then after he plunged, then he, something happened, I don't know. I guess he must have gotten the money from my parents then. Must have gotten more money from my parents. He talked them into it. He also told me he talked them into it. It was real hard, but they finally were willing to give him all that money. So, and now he's spending it on cocaine again. And so the cocaine prevents the brain from thinking clearly, because the cocaine makes the brain think everything is supreme or something. And that's how he wants to feel all the time, of course. That's like it's a real addiction. It's the addiction cycle. It's the endorphin cycle. The cortisol. All of this it feels so incredibly real that they don't see the danger of this spiral. They don't see it at all. I'm absolutely terrified for all of them. But I cannot watch how this is unfolding. I cannot watch how this is collapsing any further.